What have 1,000 Suns and a Dyson got in common? They all like dust.
Welcome back to the Kieran Show. My name's Kieran, his name is Kieran, and today we are talking about...
Dust!
The Dusty Boys. As the 1,000 Suns Codex is upon us, thank you so much to Mr. James Workshop and Co. for sending us the 1,000 Suns to review. We were sent the new Battle Force box, and we were sent the Codex.
Yes, and you've been busy painting up the robots that people don't like.
I must admit, it arrived at your house and you went, "Get out, just leave." And I was like,
I don't like the new robots.
So the Secretile robots, will talk about their rules and stuff later down the line, but I did paint them up.
You'll see it going over now. The magic of cinema.
Woo, look at this, editing and stuff. But yeah, so I painted these up for the box. They'll also feature in tomorrow's episode of Tale of Two Heretics, our first check-in. Are you excited for that?
No, I have nothing to check in.
Oh, well, that's boring. Well, you'll see lots of new things for 1,000 Suns and Emperor's Children, which is great. But that's tomorrow's video, you lucky things, at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. However, we are talking about 1,000 Suns. The Secretile robots, I thought were fine to build. By fine, I meant incredibly monopose, very, very boring. I did actually have to cut off some of the bits to give them some sort of diversity. But all in all, kind of cheeks, but hey, they're all right. And we'll talk about the rules in a minute, because they pretty good.
Right, stop waffling on about the new Dalek things. This is rules.
This is rules. So we've done 2 of the 3 flavors of chaos so far. I was really intrigued by 1,000 Suns because the Secretile robots, despite being better in a color that isn't cream, idiots. Yeah, I was quite surprised at how little of support they've received.
Oh, so we're not in for a blue version of Death Guard? No,
so Death Guard was very good. Emperor's Children immediately was quite good. Even World Eaters is fine. It's just not as good as, I'd probably argue, the other 2. I think, you know, sort of like within today's competitive scene, 1,000 Suns are pretty good anyway. Magnus was, for a hot minute anyway, the best of the 4 Demon Primarchs.
Now he's the worst.
Well, no, I probably wouldn't say he's the worst. I think Angron looked a bit squiffy. So, yeah, I'm keen to see whether he still holds up as well as he
So right
did.
out of the gate then, now we're at the back of the 4 Chaos releases, how would you rank them? Death Guard top?
I tell you what, I'll rank them at the end. Well, I thought we collectively will rank them at the end.
Fine, okay.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Idea. Starting strong, we're going to look at the Combat Patrol boxes. There's been another change up.
For the better? For the change.
I mean, yeah.
The Lord of Change.
So the last one had 20 Zangors, so yeah, for the better maybe.
It depends. Are you about to tell me that Zangors are now as good as Poxwalkers?
They're not, but I will talk about them later. I'm so conflicted with Zangors, I really am. So you have 20 Zangors, 5 Scarab Occult Terminators, and then the Infernal Master as well. For a total box starting for like 100 quid or whatever it was, I thought it was a bit ass. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't
if you consider,
amazing. Considering their start collecting had Araman in it as well.
Yeah, if you compare them to other things, I really didn't like it that much. However, we are shilling Demon Princes because in the new Combat Patrol box, you get a Demon Prince, you get 10 Rubric Marines, you get 3 Zangor Enlightened, so these are the guys on discs, with either close combat weapons or great bows, I think they're called.
Zangblades.
Sure.
Let's Zangblade.
Yep, let's Zangblade. Okay. And then also a Zangor Shaman. Upon reflection, what do you think of the change?
Changes.
Good. Well, the God of Change is pleased.
Because I don't think it's any. It's not. Maybe it's a bit better because you're not getting 20 Zangors, but you're still getting Zangors.
There are still Zangors, but I would argue that they are certainly the better of the 2. We will talk about the Zangor Enlightened. I think they're definitely trying to push them. Their changes are quite fascinating, and I think it leaves the door open for people to do really dumb stuff, which I'm all for. But I was a bit confused.
You are a bit complicated.
I'm always confused. The Demon Prince and the Shaman, that's 2 characters, straight out the gate.
Yeah, they're not...
It's a strange move. It's a strange move. I will.
It's a weird one having 2 characters.
I will mention now. Demon Princes are good in every flavour of chaos. It doesn't matter what flavour they're in.
They're better in Slanesh colours than anything else.
For sure, but I'm just saying, if you're running any colour of chaos, just take
At least they finally fixed it, because there was nothing, like, it was quite like a come down when that new model came out. And if I remember rightly, in the index, it didn't get the rules that it deserved, but you didn't really see them.
Yeah, and I think now it's got the rules it deserves in the flavour of chaos that you want. I would argue that the Chaos Space Marine one still isn't good enough.
Yeah, we need it.
But
I don't know whether we'll get a change for the Chaos Undivided Demon Prince when there's a balanced data state made, when they see that, you know, people enjoy running Demon Princes.
I don't think so. I think knowing that we've literally had 4 flavours of chaos back to back to back to back, people are probably going to want to play these more than CSM, but that's just me. That's just me. We'll look at army rules, jumping straight in.
So, army rule.
The army rules.
Have they just given them the psychic phase again?
They have. So the Cabal,
I was joking.
The Cabal of Sorcerers, psychic phase is so back. So Cabal points are now gone, so we don't have to worry about any of that nonsense, don't have to work out maths at the beginning of every command phase, which is really, really handy. So the psychic phase is back, kinda. The army ruling...
It's not its own phase, is it?
No, so the army ruling has changed too. So if your army faction is Thousand Suns, at the start of your shooting phase, 1 or more models from your army with this ability can attempt rituals from one of the 4 rituals available. Select a unit from your army that has not attempted a ritual. Select a ritual, are you bought a ritual yet, that has not yet been manifested this turn. Then take a psychic test for that model by rolling 2d6.
So rituals.
Rituals, there it is. It's culty, which I'm all for. I love a cult. There is an optional ability, which is labelled as channeling the warp. Are you ready to channel the warp?
I've been channeling the warp since I was born.
Oh, there we go then. Let's go. So by doing so, you may add an additional d6 to the roll. So that's 3d6 total.
How do you get it? Do you have to be a character, or do you just...
So this is specifically limited to Psyker units. So for example, characters that are Psykers will have the keyword, and your aspiring sorcerers in Rubric Marines, and then your sorcerers within Sekhmet Terminators or Scarab Cult.
So if you're deemed a Psyker of higher standing, then
you can do it.
Your average Dusty Boys, you get 3d6.
So you get 2. So you get 2 by default.
Yeah, and if you're cool, you get a 3rd.
No. Anyone can get 3. Just so we're clear, you have to be a Psyker.
Right.
You get 2 as per the rule.
Why wouldn't you ever have 3?
This is what I'm about to talk about. If you take 3...
3d6, not 3 Psykers.
So you can take up to 3d6 for your ritual roll, let's say. So, however, if 1 or more doubles or triples are rolled during this test, the model's unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So that is Perils of the Warp.
Okay.
Perils is back as well as the psychic.
But only for Thousand Suns.
But only for Thousand Suns. But to be honest, it's not that bad. So if you were playing Cabal of Sorcerers before, you would have spent your Cabal points on a lot of these things previously. But you don't have to count all the rest of it because you get these baked in now, which is really good. So Destiny's Ruin is the first one. This one has a warp charge of 5 and on 2d6. That's kind of good. You might not even need to use your 3rd d6. So select 1 enemy unit within 24 inches of and visible to the manifesting model. Until the end of the phase, each time a Thousand Suns model from your armory makes an attack against that target, reroll a hit roll of 1, and then if the roll was a 10 plus, so double, reroll all hits instead.
Okay.
So pretty good out the gate. This I would recommend opting for 3d6, so channeling the warp, at risk of taking those d3 mortal wounds, because then you're effectively getting over moment.
This is the one where you don't need to do anything situational, you're just doing a bit of extra stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So what's really nice about this is that although it's in your shooting phase, I think you can still do all the shooting attacks on top, which is ace.
Really?
I think so. That's what it looks like.
Cool.
Because this is a faction ability.
Yeah, it's your army rule. Like, you don't get Oath of Moment or shooting.
Yeah, this isn't a shot. It just happens in the shooting phase. That's how I'm deciphering this.
Yeah, so, it's the psychic phase in the shooting phase.
Indeed. Next up, we've got Temporal Surge. So this one's got a warp charge of 6. So select 1 friendly Thousand Suns unit that is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units and is within 24 inches of and visible to the manifesting model. There'll be lots of that. You have to be able to see it. You have to be within 24 inches for most of these. That unit can make a normal move of up to d6 inches. If the roll was a 10, you can make that move up to 6 inches instead. So in either case, until the end of the turn, you may not declare a charge within that unit. So if you were to take, I don't know, Zangor, for example, and you've got your regular move and you need to bump them up the field and you don't have to worry about, I don't know, charges or anything like that. You can move, advance, and then you get another move for them as well for up to 6 inches
Right.
on the downside that you can't charge. Pretty situational.
Give me an example when you'd want to use that, though. When do you want to get near something but not charge it?
Either only objectives or escaping an enemy unit.
Yeah, you're never going to use this to run at things, which is kind of boring.
So, yeah, you'd only be using this to run at
Or maybe
objectives.
you'd use it turn 1 just to get up the board a bit quicker for turn 2.
Or alternatively, if you had something with so much OC and you knew you could stick in steal an objective, just do it again. You're not charging, you're just getting just outside of engagement range and stealing the objective.
Yeah.
A lot of the Thousand Suns are quite resilient. So,
I mean, they're all
putting that out
toughness
there.
7.
They're not toughness 7, but they are kind of hard to kill. But we'll get onto that in a second. So Doombolt, this was a very popular one with the previous index ones.
This has been around a while.
It has. So this one's got a warp charge of 7. So select one enemy unit within 24 inches and visible to the manifesting model. So this obviously excluding units with lone op. So that model suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the test was an 11 plus, it's D3 plus 3 mortal wounds instead. So pretty good. It's the all reliable, just like point, shoot, yeet
Yeah,
across
it's just
the
here's a
field.
bit of extra damage.
Yeah, for sure. And up to D6 mortal wounds is cracking. So we'll love that.
Quite swingy on a d6 though, but then...
Well, so it's D3 plus 3. If it's an 11 plus again. So this is something that you either really want to kill or really want to hurt. That's all I can probably describe. But again, 11 on 3d6 is pretty rough.
And any doubles or triples are...
Perils as well. Minging.
What? So you'd only need like 2 5s and a 1.
Mm-hmm.
But you do damage to yourself.
Yeah. As you'd probably expect, there are 2 units within this book, Magnus and Araman, that can give themselves buffs. So last but not least is the Twist of Fate. So select one enemy unit within 24 inches.
Is this the Olivia Newton-John rule?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, she's saying Twist of Fate, but all right.
Oh, good.
I just felt old now.
Excellent. Well, you are. Within 24 inches of and visible to the manifesting model. Until the end of the phase, each time a Thousand Suns model from your army makes an attack, that target that targets this unit improve their weapon's attack AP by 1. If the result was a 12 plus, improve it by 2 instead.
But also take damage to yourself. Unless you channel the warp.
However, I thought that when I was reading it as well. However, this has the capacity to make Flamers AP3. Which is absolutely bonkers. And I was like,
Especially on Overwatch.
Yes, we'll touch on that in a minute. For any Eagle Eyes Thousand Suns players, all 3 of you, you would have noticed that you lost Weaver of Fates, Soul's Hands, you do get those 4. So again, to absolutely drill this home, you can do any one of those 4 with any one of your Psycho models. You can do all 4 if you want. You just can't do any one of them more than once.
Okay.
So what's really nice about this is you can just keep spamming this every single turn if you want to. So get all 4 of the benefits. You know, Thousand Suns, you're all nerds anyway. So you will have to be doing quite a lot of admin. However, I'm guaranteeing that you'll be using a lot of these. Things like Destiny's Ruin and Temporal Surge on warp charges of 5 and 6 are going to be pretty reliable for 2d6 anyway. You probably won't want to or won't need to go for the channeling the warp for the 3d6, but pretty good out the gate, I thought. For an army roll, getting Psychic back in a Psychic faction, I liked it.
What's the limit on how many times you can do these things?
So you can do, so let's say you've got 6 Psycho units within your army. You'll probably have a lot more than that, but let's say you've got 6 Psycho units within your army. You can do 4 of these, as in, so you can do Destiny's Ruin and Temporal Surge and Doombolt and Twist of Fate. So you can do
all of them once.
All of them once. Can't do them any more than once, but you can do up to 4.
Cool.
Excellent. So, straight on to the detachments. This is when we get a little bit fun. The first one, which is probably going to be the most popular one in my opinion, is called Grand Coven. So in your command phase, you can select one of the following abilities that take effect until your next command phase. So first up is Imbued Manifestation. So add 6 inches of the range of psychic weapons equipped by Thousand Suns models. There's a lot in here. It's not just like, oh, because everything's psychic in Thousand Suns, all their weapons get the psychic keyword as well. That's not how it works. They are very, very specific. So let's say it'll be 9 times out of 10, it's limited to character models or, no, I think it is. I think when I looked, it was just character models, to be fair.
Right.
Or your aspiring sorcerers, or your sorcerers within your Checkmate Terminators. So adding 6 inches to the range of those psychic weapons will be pretty good. So range-wise for Thousand Suns, they are good.
What's the range of your average psychic weapon?
It's probably about 18 to 24.
Okay, so you're making it 24 to 30 as an average.
It's pretty good. So next up is Psychic Maelstrom. So each time a Thousand Suns model from your army makes an attack with a psychic weapon, so +1 to wound roll, is pretty good as well. So let's say turn 1 you're going imbued manifestation, so getting those long ranged attacks in. Turn 2 or turn 3 Psychic Maelstrom to really kick off in the fight phase, which is great. And then last but not least is the Wrath of the Immaterium. So psychic weapons by Thousand Suns model from your army have the Dev Wounds ability.
And you can pick one of these.
One of these each battle round. So you could just keep these on retainer if you want. You could just keep going. What's the Space Marine one where you get to pick one each time?
Can't remember.
Oh well, boring. So yeah, I think all in all, it's sort of like a toolbox detachment. And considering how I'm going to say limited the Thousand Suns units are, it's an easy one to take. I will be honest. Next up is the Change Hosts of Deceit. So this is the Demons one. So like a mix of the two. So Scintillating Legions. So Scintillating Legions from your army have the following aura. So while a friendly Thousand Suns unit is within 6 inches of and visible to the unit, models in that unit have a 4-up invul save from range attacks.
4-up invul from ranged?
Yep.
So that's pretty good.
So let's say you have a front line of demons that can all deep strike now, which is quite good. Let's say you got
and you got 4-up invul against all the Overwatch.
Yeah, you got a 4-up invul against all your range attacks for your Thousand Suns unit. So the demons are giving that to the Thousand Suns unit.
What do the demons get?
Oh, so the Thousand Suns unit from your army have the following aura. While a friendly Scintillating Legions Psyker unit is within 6 inches of the visible to the unit, that Scintillating Legions unit has the Cabal of Sorcerers ability.
Oh, so it just does a thing?
Yeah, so it's one of the ones from the beginning. So
what if you've already used them all, though?
You can't give them to him. Yeah, that's okay. The thing is, I would
have expected more for the demons coming down.
So the thing is with this one, it's similar to the Emperor's Children and the Nurgle and the World Eaters one anyway. So let's say in Strike Force in a 2,000 point game, you need to have up to 1,000 points of demons and up to 1,000 points of Thousand Suns. So you're going to be splitting 2 and 2 anyway. Giving your Thousand Suns units a 4-up invul, and then by extension letting all your demon gribblies give them like Doombolt and I don't know, whatever the hell I mentioned before, like is a pretty good way of balancing those, I think.
Yeah, this only makes sense if you are doing an even split though. Because for example, if you only took 500 points of demons, chances are when they pop out of the warp, they're just not going to have anything to do because you probably used all your things.
I think outside of Chaos Fate Weaver, I don't care about any of the Thousand Suns demons. Don't care about any of them. So
why?
I just don't think they look very good. They're all like poopy garbage models. So I was just like, This is the one I was like, whatever. Knowing me, it's probably going to be the best one in the book. Next up is the Warp Meld Pact. So each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot or fight, and one or more Tzeentch mutant units are selected as the target/targets, each of those Tzeentch mutant units can make a Warp Meld sacrifice. To clarify, Tzeentch mutant units are things like your Zangors.
Okay.
Excellent. If it does, that Tzeentch mutant unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and until the end of the phase, the attacking unit suffers from a -1 to wound. So the Zangors are effectively killing themselves in extension for giving out debuffs to your enemy units.
It's kind of cool, but it's not. Normally when we've had like these debuffs, they're just, here's a debuff, not I have to do this thing to give you a debuff.
Yes. And then
it's not great.
In addition, each time a Tzeentch unit has been selected to shoot or fight, while before selecting its targets, that unit can make a Warp Meld sacrifice. If it does, suffer D3 mortal wounds again. In addition, that unit gains a +1 to that wound. So, in addition, again, you can sacrifice goats and get +1 to wound. You are sacrificing goats all game long.
I don't think that's very good.
No, I thought it was kind of ass.
Because a lot of these other ones, like you've had like, most books have ways to get +1s in various forms, but I haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I haven't seen one so far that involves killing your own units that you've spent points on to get it. Like I know Cadians used to have the whole you could shoot one guardsman and you'd pass your leadership test.
So my biggest issue with this is like if you were going like let's say a really Zangor heavy list, and I can hear you in the comments, oh you can only max out at 60 Zangors. Not anymore. Zangors get battle line. So
you could take 120 Zangors.
So you could take 120 Zangors, and I was like, well, that's already crazy. So suddenly you're just killing yourself in exchange for dishing out debuffs to your opponent, and then also you can kill yourself again somehow, and then give +1 to wound for you as well. And I was like, well, you're going to be running out of a lot of goats. You're not going to be doing a lot in the way of objective control. No, Zangor models get +1 to their OC. So Zangor models are suddenly 2 OC.
But you're going to kill them anyway.
But the point is, if you have 20 Zangors on a objective, that by default is already 40. It's silly. The whole thing is done. If you've got,
it doesn't feel very Tzeentchy though.
I'll be honest. I don't know anything about this. I looked at.
If there's more porn, like I'll kill yourself so you can do things.
Well, I looked at all of this and I was like, this is absolutely crackers. And I was like, how on earth are you going to max out for a full Zangor army? But now there is now a way, and I'll tell you about it in a second. It's so dumb that I actually kind of like it.
Are you talking about 2,000 points of Zangors?
I am talking about that. Yeah, it is absolutely.
You're not
crackers.
allowed. You're not allowed.
No, I won't do it anyway. It's too insane. Then we've got the Rubricae Phalanx. This to me is my. I'll read it out to you. So each time an attack with an unmodified damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a Rubricae model from your army, add 1 to any armor saving throw made against that attack.
But only if it's damage 1?
Yep. That's the whole rule. Definitely the most boring so far.
It's also very situational. Like, I don't know of a lot of...
There's no damage 1 really anymore.
No, most ranged weapons now, like especially if you're playing, normal Space Marines against them, are damage 2. Like,
Yep.
Well, normal bolters and things maybe.
Heaven forbid you came across loads of things with flamers, then you'd just be like, haha. But nobody's running flamers, like in that bigger capacity.
I don't know. It's the 1 damage. I think how many? So rubrics are 2 damage, aren't they?
It's just Rubricae models. Yeah, so as in like let's say Rivet Marines, they're 2 wounds a pop.
I feel like this should have been a damage 2 or lower, because there's so many things out there that do just kill Marines for fun. Mm-hmm. It gives you that twist of change of ways that you can.
It's +1.
You can't kill that rubric Marine.
Nice. I could see you struggling with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought it was like crazy underwhelming, and I just went.
It should be like I said. It should be damage 2 because then it's the twist of fate that you've gone. Oh, killed it. No, you haven't.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, Rubric Marines, a battle line, so you can take up to 60 of them if you wanted to. But again, it's only against damage 1, so you're like, yeah. Anyway,
is it only in ranged?
No. Maybe that's it. Because let's say you've got an AP1, damage 1 attack, orcs, for example, with choppers. If you've got loads of those, and suddenly you're like, no, I'm actually going to give myself a pip save back.
It's really good against, like... Horde, that's it. Against everything else, it's a bit... I think you'll come up against a few armies, if you took this, where you wouldn't even get your detachment rule.
No, I agree. If you came
it's a shame.
Yeah, if you came up against, I don't know, some thick anti-tank list, you'd just be like, I guess
I don't get a detachment rule.
Guess I'll try my best. And then last but not least is the Warpforge Cabal. So each time a Thousand Suns vehicle unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, apply one of the following when resolving those attacks. So if that vehicle unit is within 6 inches of 1 or more Thousand Suns Psyker model, you can re-roll one hit roll, 1 wound roll, and 1 damage roll. So let's say your Sekitar, new units, your Predators, your Land Raiders, 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 damage roll. So suddenly Las Cannons are absolutely fire next in.
Hang on, so is it you can do all of them or one of them?
All of them if you're next to a Thousand Suns Psyker within 6 inches.
1 hit roll, 1 wound roll.
And 1 damage roll.
Land Raiders
Otherwise,
just got spicy.
Otherwise, it's reroll one of either of those three. So, for example, if you're not next to a Psyker, you get one of them.
And you're absolutely saving that for the last cannon.
Yeah, but again, that's if you don't have a Psyker, and you can get as many as you want. Because
you know what it is? It's the Hunter Killer Missile insurance.
Yeah,
that never works.
Suddenly, you're going to be popping these ones. Oh, well, let's reroll a 1. Oh no, it's still a 1. So you can either pick that one, or each time a Thousand Suns vehicle model from your army within the Deadly Demise ability is destroyed, while it is destroyed and within 6 inches of a friendly Thousand Suns Psyker model, Deadly Demise inflicts on a 5-up instead of a regular 6.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so you can blow up all your vehicles as well. So it's, I don't know, it's like...
In a cloud of dust.
Yeah, it's Live Fast, Die Young for Thousand Suns, and it was like, because it's vehicle heavy, I was like, oh, that's interesting. You don't really see that a lot for Thousand Suns.
Well, they've all 4 of the Chaos flavors have got a vehicle heavy detachment, so
it's cool.
It's on brand.
I'll be honest, I'm quite excited to see that in play. I think with the new Secretary robots, and then anybody still taking Preds, Vindicators.
So all vehicles can blow up on a 5?
If they're within 6 inches of a friendly T-Sun Psycho model, yeah.
So that's quite risky, though.
Oh yeah, but it's like
you're going to take some damage from doing it.
But it's like Charlie Kelly, wild card, baby, let's go, which I quite like, and it's not very on brand for Thousand Suns. So I thought
it's
it was
really
quite fun.
not on brand.
Yeah, I thought it was quite fun.
So let's get it out the gate, because this is going to be the talking point.
Yes, Magnus.
No.
Oh, not Magnus.
Did they keep Predators?
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. Let me go all the way to the bottom.
Kept Predators, kept the Defiler, kept both kinds of Fiends.
So Preds, Vindicator still in the book as well. Sorry, Emperor's Children players, I think my note was. Excellent. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened with EC. Maybe it just wasn't supposed to come out at that time.
Tinfoil hat moment. I think these tanks are not long for this world. So I think they know that all of these, the 3 Chaos flavors that are already out there, there's collections there that already include all these models. Whereas Emperor's Children, they know is a new force. They didn't want to give it them if their long-term plan is to take those models out of the game.
Maybe. Unless
that's my tinfoil hat.
Yeah, maybe we're getting updated models to those old chassis.
But then, if they were going to do that, why wouldn't they? I don't know. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe it is a nice thing that they don't want to sell Emperor's Children players old tanks.
I don't know. I think it's very. We've mentioned this before in Emperor's Children. If you were going to take 3 maxed out thing of Noise Marines, I don't know, 3 Predators, 2 Land Raiders. That's like the ultimate come at me, bro.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think if I came up against that, I'd just be like, well, do you want a beer?
Right, let's talk about datasheets. Tell me about the big peacock man.
Indeed. Thick Daddy King, Magnus the Red. So he's got the same base stats. So 14-inch move, toughness 11, 2 up, 4 up, 16 wounds, 5 up leadership, OC of 6, Deadly Demise D6, and then Deep Strike as well.
So he's still got less toughness but moves faster than everybody else.
Yeah, he's like thick. He's like Thick King, running around doing lots of spells.
Mortarion's thicker.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody's thicker than Magnus, it turns out. So the range
chest.
Those big chests. It's all in the chest plate. He's compensating. So the range weapon. So the Gaze of Magnus got a buff. So it's now 24-inch range. Pardon me. 3d3 attacks. 2 up, strength 11 now. -2 AP, D3 damage with dev wounds and psychic. So
he stands in the corner of a battlefield and goes,
yeah, that's it. And if you remember,
looking at tanks.
If you remember earlier, the rule that can make, I think it's the Cult of Coven, the first detachment, you can make psychic weapons. That's a 30-inch D3 with dev wounds, 3d3 attacks. Yeah, but we're long bombing with psychic attacks.
Just looking at people.
Just like throw them downfield.
Just looking at Gilliman like, no.
He's just at the back like, Kobe. Crazy work. In addition to that, where is it? Tzeentch's Firestorm got a little buff as well. So 24 inches, D6 plus 3 attacks, 2 up, strength 6, -1 AP, damage 2, with blast, ignore, cover, and psychic. So he's very good from range, very good. And don't forget, in addition to that, you can also do Doombolt and all those other things, which is crazy cool. Melee weapons are the same as before, so either the 7 attack, strength 16, AP 3, damage 3 with psychic and dev wounds, or 14 attack, strength 8, AP -1, damage 1 with psychic. The Crimson King Chapter Master-esque ability is exactly the same as before, so not like the other Chapter Masters where it's slightly changed, exactly the same. So the Lord of the Planet Sorcerer's ability has had a bit of a rewrite. So it used to dish out pluses to hit and wound, now reads as this model can attempt up to 2 rituals per turn instead of 1. In addition, +2 to the psychic test result.
And rituals are the Doombolt thingy-majiggies from the start.
Indeed, so he can attempt up to 2. In addition to that, he also gives himself +2.
So the only trouble with that, though, is you, correct me if I'm wrong, 2,000 points, you can only do 4 of these, can't you?
Yeah.
So he's already doing half of them.
But with the +2. So you'll be channeling a lot of the warp, with Magnus for sure, because you get +2 to the roll. You're almost guaranteeing those ones.
Yeah, but you're going to take the damage.
But he's also got 16 wounds.
I mean, you're playing fast and loose with 16 wounds. You can cut through... On D3s, when he perils of the warp, you can cut through those quite quick.
I don't know. When he's dishing out D3 +3 mortals with a Doombolt or giving effectively your entire army Oath of Moment, I don't know. It seems pretty good.
It's quite...
Well, the nice thing is with these ones now is that instead of, I think the old Cabal of Sorcerers rule, because of the Cabal points, you needed, I think it was, if I remember rightly, it was at the beginning of every command phase, the amount of psychers you have left were dependent on how many, no, wrong way around. The amount of Cabal points for the beginning of each command phase was dependent on how many psychers you had left and how many Cabal points they supplied each round. Right. So there was lots of admin. I remember playing a Psychic Thousand Suns player in, I think it was 9th edition. He used his Cabal points as gems. He had like a bag of gems. And at the beginning of each turn, he'd add gems to this tiny little pot. And I thought it was like the cutest thing in the world. But yeah, it was nice.
Now you know why he was doing it.
Now I know, yeah, he was actually just having an
it was
absolute
the only
meltdown.
way.
Yeah, he was having a meltdown. So now you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. And you just get to do these, you know.
I mean, it's quite cool. It's quite cool that he can do essentially two psychic powers from the armor rule and also his own buffs that he has.
Exactly. And what's really nice about Magnus is that he was already really good, and now he's technically better because you don't have to worry about Cabal points.
He's
you can
different.
do up to 2.
I could sum it up in one sentence. He's differently the same.
Well, that's nice and confusing. So Araman is next.
Is that it for Magnus?
Yeah, everything else is quite similar. Everything else is
we shouted home about Morty and Fulgrim for days.
Well, the thing is, obviously Fulgrim was brand new, so we needed to talk about him, and Morty had quite a lot of changes. Magnus was already really good. If they'd rewritten him and made him maybe a little bit worse, it would have warranted talking about. But he's already really good. So there's not really much to talk about.
Yeah, tell me about the Beyblade Master.
So Araman is now a single data sheet. So you don't have Araman or Araman on disc, it's now just Araman.
Nobody ever ran him off the disc.
Nobody ever ran him off the disc. So single data sheet now, so 10-inch move with fly, great. So he dropped the Psychic Stalk range attack for Transmogrifying Blast.
Oh, it's every Blizzard game fan's dream.
Yes.
Making your character look like something it's not.
Indeed. So 18 inches, D6 plus 1 attack, 2 up, strength 6, AP minus 1, D3 damage with blast and psychic ability.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
I'd tell you what, we're in the Datasheets, and so far this book is just a lot of, it's fine.
Yeah, that's all right. But some of the more dumb things are towards the bottom. Well, thank God they last. So one of his psychic abilities did get a bit of a rewrite. So the Arch Sorcerer of Tzeentch is now +1 to the psychic test. And then the Scryer of Fate is a new ability. So if your army includes this model and after both players have deployed their armies, you can select up to 3,000 Suns units and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strategic reserves regardless of how many are currently in strategic reserves. You can have half of your army in strategic reserves, be it deep strike or just chilling on the backfield. You can hide, if you really wanted to, up to 3/4 of your army.
That's a dangerous game to be playing.
Oh, it's done. It's not a big brain move. It's if anything, it's a very smooth brain move.
I'd love to see it done.
It's just fun.
I'd love to see it done though, because if you run that risk and it pays off, like you as the opponent, you're gone.
Oh yeah, for sure. There is one of these units where I think you'd benefit probably the most. I'll get onto that in a second. But honestly, for having like a...
So just to go back again, how many units can he put into strategic reserves?
3. A Land Raider with Terminators is...
That haven't got out yet.
It's like 500 something points, 600 if you give it a character. Just chuck it in strategic reserves.
Yeah, and I guess they're still in strategic reserve because they're still in the Land Raider.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it's all very silly. But
would you use it? Would you use it though? That's the thing.
It depends how aggressively your opponent is matched up. Because obviously within strategic reserves, you can't line up 9 inches away from anybody else. There's one unit that I made an example about in a little bit. So we'll go over that
rules
later.
like that, they're quite situational. Like I think they're good to have in your back pocket, like you said, depending on the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for someone for Araman, he should have had something that's more surefire. You're going to use I want to use his abilities. Whereas there's some games you'll rock up and go, well, Araman's just normal now.
I don't know. He's still a cool guy. He's still pretty good, and considering he's less, I think he's cheaper. But he's like about 100 points as well, so he's not super expensive. So again, it's just the capacity to have that, and his ranged abilities are pretty good as well, and it's a +1 to his psychic tests. So
Magnus was +2 and he's +1.
He's +1. It's pretty good, and it's another psyker, which you're going to need loads of them in this. You're running quite a character-centric army.
But you can still only do 4 things.
Yeah, but to be honest, I vibe with it. I think it's cool. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Thousand Suns Sorcerer. Can't give them plasma pistols anymore. Plasma pistols are gone from this book. Be gone.
Why?
I don't really know anybody that was running plasma pistols with Thousand Suns. They certainly don't come in any of the kits, but they were one of those things I imagine were probably nice to have for the people that were doing it. Sorry if you were one of those people. You have to change it out.
I didn't even know that they weren't really a thing. I just assumed that because most armies have plasma pistols.
Well, Thousand Suns are more flame-based, so... yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's gone. So the Illusions of Tzeentch ability is now gone, instead replaced with Twisted Sorceries. So once per battle in your shooting phase or fight phase, this model may use this ability. Until the end of the phase, improve the strength and attack of the psychic weapons equipped by this model by 3, which is a bit silly. So Sorcerers are now crazy cheap. So they're between, I think it was like about 60 or 70 points or something. They're like mad cheap. Obviously the points will change. You can chuck them in a unit of Rubrics. So increasing once per game the strength or attack of a psychic weapon by 3 until the end of the phase, obviously, not until the end of the game. So I did come up with some examples just to show how absolutely silly this was. This whiz be. So Pandemonic Delusion, in that instance, is a 24-inch range attack, 9 attacks now, 3 up, strength 8, AP -1, damage 1 weapon with sustained hits 3 and lethal hits if it's leading a unit. Once per game for a 70-point unit, that's just like Pinball Wizard, just throwing it in.
It's the Lord Exultant all over again.
But it's just once per game, so it's just like, no, I'll do this myself.
Yeah, Lord Exultant's once per game.
Just like Power reads a book and then just like surges in. I don't know, it's fine. And then another example of that is his Force Weapon. So in a melee focus, sorry. So 7 attacks, 3 up, strength 9, AP 1, damage D3 with lethal hits if it's leading a unit. So it's one of those things that's just kind of nice to have. And because it's lethal hits as well, if you're giving all your bolters lethal hits, that's pretty good.
Lethal hits is really good if you're against eliter things as well.
With bolters. Ridiculous. Next up for the noticeable changes are Exalted Sorcerers on discs.
Let's
Beyblade. So dropped a movement down to 10 inches from 12, which is big sad.
Why?
And they've also...
That's not a change that needed to happen.
They've also dropped their OC from 2 to 1 as well.
Why have they cut the movement?
And the OC. They're just suddenly not very good anymore.
So Death Guard got faster.
And the guys on discs, as in like the speedy ones, got slower somehow. I don't know. No more plasma pistols again. Yeah, boring. We've spoken about that. Binding Tendrils ability is the same. You're able to slow down enemy infantry units by 2 inches, and then so that's from movement and charges. Arcane Shield is gone, so in its place now you have Illusions of Tzeentch instead. So while this model is leading a unit, it can be only be selected by enemy units if within 18 inches. So it sort of gives it like sort of semi-good lone op, which is like fine. I'll be honest, like a really underwhelming change to something that probably didn't need it.
I'm just quite livid that they reduced the movement.
Yeah.
The discs are supposed to be fast.
Well, what's crazy is that the ability is still the same, so you can slow down an enemy unit by 2 inches of their movement and 2 inches of a charge roll. So it's like
you know
fine.
You know what it is? Oh, I got slower, so all of you get slower.
It is. It really is. And I was like,
What's the range on making them slower, though? Because it's almost a double-edged sword. If you're slower, you can't get within range to make the other things slower.
Yeah. Good. But yeah, no, they obviously don't want to sell Exalted Sorcerers anymore. They saw our kit bashing video and went, stop buying these boxes, we need to sell some goats. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Demon Prince of Tzeentch.
I don't know if I want to. I don't like... I'm not a massive Thousand Suns fan, but the Exalted Sorcerers kit...
Yeah.
It's like... That's a real feels bad. That's...
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like,
I feel bad for you, there's got 9 of them.
I've got way too many. I'll have to kit bash loads of sorcerers instead and just yeet all these crazy psychic attacks. So, Demon Prince of Tzeentch. So the extra 2 inches of movement, gained it from the sorcerers on disc.
So they've got the discs.
That's it. So they're now movement 9 for just a base one without wings, so which is pretty good. So the Infernal Cannon, they're keeping...
So the base Demon Prince is 9-inch move.
Yep.
It's an inch less than something that's on a flying disc.
Yep. Basically. It still keeps the Infernal Cannon, so a lot of the other Demon Princes have got the same basis of Infernal Cannon as the CSM book. These guys have now got 6 attacks from 3, which is pretty good. So the Hellforged weapon for melee, both strike and sweep gained dev wounds. Sweep, however, lost 2 attacks down to 12 attacks, but gained AP1 instead. So, yeah, better by default. They also get a new Dark Blessing ranged attack, which is quite good. So this is a 24-inch, 9 attacks on a 2-up, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1, which ignores cover, psychic, and sustained hits 1. So not bad. This is like your, if you remember in the Cult of the Coven, I think it was the first detachment. Again, you're now shooting 30 inches and just demolishing any like really chaff units. So if you've got, we obviously talked a lot about Poxwalkers in our previous Death Guard Codex review. This is like, no, bye-bye Poxwalkers, bye-bye. So yeah, it's fine.
I can't get over the... I give up and I can't get over
the disc.
The disc is it's really annoyed me.
It is silly. The Demon Prince of Tzeentch has got some new abilities. So the first one is the Serval Pawns, I think that's what it's called. So while this model is within 3 inches of a friendly Thousand Suns infantry unit, it gains blown up. So same as the...
all of them have that.
I think so. So next up is Spirit Snare. So each time a friendly Thousand Suns model unit...
Devil Snare.
Devil Snare. Fun in the sun. With a Cabal of Sorcerer's ability is destroyed while within 9 inches of a model with this ability. Select one of those models with this ability. Each time the selected model attempts to manifest a ritual, +1 to that result to a max of +2. Let me explain this.
I was going to say, did it need that many words?
It didn't, but I know why it's done it and I've broken it down. Let's say the people that are taking lots of different Demon Princes in any given list, if you have Spirit Snare, if a Thousand Sun Psychic model is destroyed within 9 inches of one of those Demon Princes, only one of those Demon Princes can now get +1 to their Psychic results in future turns. So it's not like...
stop you going, they're all gone.
Exactly. If you had like a Tzeentch's triangle of Demon Prince and one Exalted Sorcerer in the middle and then the Exalted Sorcerer dies, they all don't get +1. That's not how that works. It's just one of them. And it is to a max of 2. So you can have lots of different Psychers running around the battlefield, and as soon as they die, the Demon Princes then get a little bit stronger in Psychic.
Stops you making some like ridiculous Bermuda Triangle in the middle of the battlefield.
It does. I'd think that'd be the coolest thing ever, but...
Of course it would, because you'd want to play... You're just a sweat player.
No. Also, I went super high pitch.
You play Tau, you're already a sweaty player.
Nah, babe. No. And then last but not least is Glamour of Tzeentch, which is an aura. So while a friendly Thousand Suns infantry unit is within 6 inches of this model, that unit has the stealth ability.
Why?
I don't know. I thought that was pretty good. -1 to hit on Thousand Suns units within 6 inches of you. Again, it's like the ultimate support character. I thought it was really cool. See, I prefer a support character over a massive death threat, but here we go. Next up is the Demon Prince of Tzeentch with wings. So this one's got...
Does it give more wounds for how many it's got left?
No, it certainly doesn't, thank God as well. So this one's got more movement as well. So this is now movement 13.
Ah, it's just faster than a disc.
Faster than a disc. Again with the Infernal Cannon, now 6 attacks from 3. Again with the Forged weapons from melee, so both strike and sweep gain dev wounds. Sweep, now lost 2 attacks, down to 12 attacks, gained an extra AP. Also gets the Dark Blessing again, so 24 inches, 9 attacks, 2 up, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1, ignores cover, psychic, sustained hits 1. Great. Exactly the same as the other one. The new abilities are different. So the Hunter of Souls is the first one, very cool name. Each time a model makes an attack that targets a character unit, so reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. If this model makes an attack against a character that's a Psyker as well, looking at you Grey Knights, reroll all hits and wounds as well. So each time this unit destroys a character, regain up to D3 lost wounds, and each time it's a Psyker character as well, that's flat 3. So it's just running around the battlefield, just killing characters and healing itself.
Yeah, if they're Psychers, that's a bad time.
Yeah.
Outside of Grey Knights, there's still quite a bit out there that's got a few snazzy psychic things.
Yeah. It's quite good. It's quite good. And what's nice is that it's still, with characters as well, it's D3 wounds. So it's just an out-and-out character killer, which I thought was super cool. The other one, so Aether Stride got a rewrite. So it now reads as when this model is set up on the battlefield using the Deep Strike ability, it can perform an Aether Stride. If it does, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 3 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. Until the end of the turn, the Dark Blessing has sustained D3 hits instead of 1. And then until the end of the turn, you can't charge. Well, the thing is with Aether Stride, you can't charge. So you could Deep Strike within 9 and be able to charge.
Well, why would you want to go? Why would you ever want to go within 3 and not charge?
Well, what is quite nice with this is the Dark Blessings has sustained D3. So again, to look at Dark Blessings, if you were to Aether Stride, so 24 inches, 9 attacks, 2 up, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1, ignores cover, psychic, and sustain hits D3.
But it's not really a support character. Why would you ever want to have it that close to the enemy out of Deep Strike?
Don't know. So it's not as good. This is probably like the weaker Demon Prince.
Careful with those words, because you said that about the Emperor's Children one, and look what happened there.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think the flat one without the wings is probably better out of the two. Even if it was if you could Aether Stride within 3 inches of something, like I still don't think it's good enough. But I mean, even if you're within 3, obviously you're looking for characters. With the Dark Blessings, you still could probably pit lots of damage off these things.
You can't charge it, that's the killer though. So you are throwing a Demon Prince to the slaughter.
So to use an example, so the Twist of Fate psychic ability, obviously you can make with a roll of 12, which is obviously ridiculous, but you can make it AP2. So suddenly your crazy Dark Blessings are AP3, damage 1 obviously, but with sustained hits D3 as well. So you could potentially kill characters with it anyway, just by default. But
you have to spike pretty high to kill most characters though.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, even if it's
only damage 1 as well, so there's a lot of them having to go through.
For sure, but it's a lot of your smaller support characters that are going to be targeting these things anyway. I don't know. To me, it just looked fine. It just looked fine.
Yeah, I just can't see a reason you'd ever want to land if it is 3 inches or 6 inches. Why would you ever want to go that near?
No,
because you can't charge.
No. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Sekitar robots, the new ones that nobody likes.
You do.
I do and I don't. I really like them in the scheme I've done them in, which seems super big-headed, but yes, good one me. They just don't look good in the cream. They don't. Whoever's choice that was, if you like it, that's great. I'm just telling you you're wrong. So
you're having fun wrong.
You are. These guys, movement 8, toughness 6, 3 up, 5 up, 4 wounds each, leadership 7 with OCs of 1.
How can they have any leadership when they're a robot?
God knows. What is really, 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 really cool about these guys? They get infiltrate and stealth.
Why? They don't need that.
I don't know. In a minute, you'll be like, why have they done this? Because they want to sell them. So they can come in units of 2 or 4.
What? Hang on, just back to that. What? That makes no sense. So, for example...
Pause. Save the rage for just a second. These guys come with heavy warp flamers, Hellfire missile racks, Pyreflux melter guns, then a warp flame projector or a power claw. with infiltrate and stealth.
They don't need that!
In addition, its ability, Prophetic Sentinels, lets them, once per battle round, use Overwatch or Heroic Intervention for free. Pause. If you max the unit, i.e. 4, that's 12 Flamers with 4d6 and 8d3 attacks and 4 Melters for free on Overwatch.
And they infiltrated, so they're quite near to you anyway.
I was looking through the rules, I was like, this is dumb, I like it.
It doesn't make sense. They're robots, so like surely like some tech kid from the bloody Thousand Suns has got to go and set them up out there and then run back to the deployment zone.
Maybe.
Nah. and then minus one to hit.
Yeah. Only in range. Come on. We're not animals. I looked at it and I was like, this is a lot. But they are quite expensive as well, so.
I should think so, with infiltrate and stealth, and can literally overwatch you for free. How many damage are on those flamers?
Only one. Only one.
How many shots?
But if you remember the old psychic ability that I was telling you about, you could make all of these flamers AP3. Yeah. I was like, well, here are the synergies that I wanted to talk about.
You are burning Space Wolf marshmallows there.
This is dumb. And then, but again, giving them melters.
They don't need it.
No.
I mean, maybe they do need it.
A missile rack, 2 flamers, and a melter. I was like...
Where is the melter then?
Sure. So...
because they've got 2 arms and the missile rack on the back.
So you've got missile rack, flamer, melter, and then the nip-nips are another flamer. I was like, sure. Let's go. That seems fine. Yeah, a bit dumb, but I kind of like it. Next up is the Scarab Occult Terminators. So they've done something really funny here with leadership, and I think we'll talk about it in a second. So they're now leadership 7, but the Sorcerer is only leadership 6.
That feels like a misprint.
Nope. They've done exactly the same for rubrics, and I think it's because traditionally you'll want to keep your Sorcerers because they're the one dishing out all the psychic abilities. But then for Battle Shock, obviously you take your highest unit. So if you're giving yourself like D3 mortal wounds and stuff because you're getting perils, and you're killing either your Scarab Occult Terminators or your Rubric Marines, suddenly you'll be left with just your Sorcerers. So you're going to be. It's easier for you to fail these tests.
Okay.
So that was my understanding. I thought it was a bit strange, but fine.
We haven't seen that before, I don't think.
No.
Normally the Sergeant-esque thing has a bit more leadership, like, come on guys, what are you doing?
Well, the thing is, you need as many of these Sorcerers as possible within the Thousand Suns playstyle. So if you're just sacrificing all these units because you just wanted to manifest all these psychic abilities, I don't know. I thought it was like fine, but
weird one.
Yeah, it's a strange one. So Scarab Occult Terminators, you've got a new ranged weapon for the Sorcerer in the Malefic Curse, it's called. So 24 inches, 3 attacks, 3 up, strength 4, AP 3, damage 1. With anti-infantry 4 up, dev wounds and psychic. Do you remember that AP thing I was talking about earlier?
Yeah.
That now makes it AP 5.
How?
Because it's an AP 3 at its base, and then if you rolled a 12 on that psychic test, that's now AP 5. On a damage 1, anti-infantry 4 up. I mean, sure, it's only 3 attacks, but I was just like...
Yeah, there's also only 1 damage. Like, here's all the AP. 1 damage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of these psychic weapons that are just absolutely silly. But here we are. So the Implaceable Guardians is now called Rites of Coalescence. So while this unit contains 1 or more Psycho models, each time an attack targets this unit, -1 to wound. So still the same as before.
Okay.
But for Scarab Occult Terminators, which are a bit spendy now, to be fair, still pretty good. So Rubric Marines, they've got an extra pip of movement. So they're now 6 inches. And an extra pip of leadership for the rubrics, so now it's 7, Sorcerer still at 6, as I mentioned before. So new ranged weapon for the Sorcerer in Malefic Curse, same as the Terminators. Again, no plasma pistols, they're gone. The Bringers of Change ability remains the same, so reroll wound rolls of 1, reroll all wound rolls if targeting a unit when they're within range of an objective you don't control, so that's pretty good. Icon of Flame gives the unit ignore cover. So that's like fine. Mentioned that Pred's Vindicator's still in the book as well. Sorry, Empress Children players. Next up, Hellbrutes. I was really curious about Hellbrutes because they were obviously quite a main feature for the Space Marine 2 game.
Yeah, there were. There's quite a few Thousand Suns ones.
Yeah.
Did they give them really cool new rules?
To be fair, I thought so. Like, for Hellbrutes, I think are kind of ass anyway. So I was just like, they look kind of rubbish. Let's not take Hellbrutes. But now, I don't know, maybe. So they're now movement 8 from movement 6. So they are 2 inches slower than a disc, which is fine. So they've got new abilities, so devoted to destruction. So if this model is equipped with 2 melee weapons in addition to its close combat weapon, plus 2 to the attacks of those 2 weapons. So it used to be twin-linked for the Hellbrute Fist that you would give if you took 2 of those. Now you could potentially have a Hellbrute Hammer with 7 attacks, 4 up, strength 14, 3 AP, damage D6 plus 1.
Quite swingy though.
Oh yeah, it's very swingy, but anybody that's taking Hellbrutes with double, like akimbo combat weapons, is just ridiculous. So yeah, they're there to have a good time, not a long time. They've also got Terrifying Assault. So in your shooting phase and fight phase, after this model has shot or fought, select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks. That unit must take a battle shock test. So -1 to the test if it's within 9 inches of one or more Thousand Sun Psychic unit. So again, Psychic units, you're going to want loads of them.
Yeah, there's a theme here.
There is a theme. So I came up with some examples. So if you line up your Hellbrutes in front in the open during your deployment, let Ahriman redeploy in reserves. Come in from turn 2 with a flamer, melter, and a hammer in the mid-board edge, dish out battle shock tests, and have some fun. So you're just like bonk, 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 hitting with a flamer because it's auto hit, and suddenly dishing out battle shock test. If you're near a Thousand Sun Psyker, you get -1 to the battle shock test.
You're just playing whack-a-mole with Hellbrutes.
It's so dumb, but I was like, actually, I think that's really fun. So yeah, whatever. Mauler Fiend had a bit of a change, so the ability change from Prophetic Hunters is now called Snarling Protector, so that you can give them Heroic Intervention for 0 CP, even if you've used it this battle round, which I thought was bonkers.
Are people heroically intervening Mauler Fiends?
No, they should be, because it's the same as before. However, now in addition to that, each time this model declares a charge that targets an enemy unit that's within engagement range of a Thousand Sun Psycho, you can reroll the charge. So you're just like, help me, Space Ape, and then you're just like rerolling the charge, and in comes the dog, and you're like, what's going on? So yeah, Mauler Fiends are pretty good, turns out.
Do they get the Forge Fiend as well?
No, Forge Fiends are the same. Not very fun.
But they still get them?
Oh, still get them, which is fun. Defilers. Never thought I'd be talking about Defilers on this channel again, but here we are. They get a new model. And nobody's talking. No, obviously that is not really. That doesn't happen. Their ability is so dumb that I just had to talk about it. Are you ready to make Defilers great again?
Are you going to buy another one?
No, absolutely not. This is beyond dumb. Normally I'll read rules and be like, oh, that's kind of fun. This is just stupid. Fire Overwatch on a 5-up instead of a 6. Pause. If you're targeting a unit within 9 inches of a friendly Sun Psyker, make it a 4 instead. You can give a Defiler cannon for damage 3, you can give it an auto cannon for damage 3, or you can give, no, I think cannon's more than damage 3 actually, and the last cannon for damage 6.
And you can Overwatch on a 4.
On a 4? How utterly ridiculous is that?
Yeah, they want to sell some Defilers.
I read it and I went, nah. No. I was like, that ain't real.
Oh, have we seen anything that
Nothing
interferes?
is overwatching on a 4. Nothing.
Nothing's overwatching on a 5.
Tau, which are inherently good at shooting, cannot overwatch on a 4.
They can if they're defiled.
So stupid.
So it's only if the Defiler has to be 6 inches away from a Psyker.
9 inches.
9 inches away from a Psyker.
Yeah, and remember that
mind bullets that translate into real bullets.
Well, if you go back to the vehicle-heavy detachment that we were talking about earlier, where you can reroll a hit, a wound roll, and a damage, you get the point. It's done. People are going to be taking Defilers all of a sudden. You're like, why the hell are we seeing these models? It's because they're done.
All
they're done
5
now.
of the Thousand Suns players.
Yeah, for sure. Last 3 units are all Zangors. Let's get these out of the way.
Well, that means they're Vortex Beast.
They're still the same. Exactly the same as it was. Not very fun. Zangor Shaman. So they don't give out the 5-up Feel No Pain for the unit anymore. So instead, you can kill a bodyguard unit to give himself D3 attacks and strength on a psychic weapon till the end of the phase.
Why are Thousand Suns not killing their own units?
I don't know. And
why aren't World Eaters doing that?
What's silly is Zangor Shamans, you can put them in units of Zangor Enlightened, but because they're like damage 2 and they're like kind of expensive anyway, I was like, why are you killing yourself just to get a slightly better, less poopy attack until the end of, I don't know, I thought it was a dumb rule. Next up is the Zangor Enlightened. This potentially has the capacity to be the thing I like the most in this book.
Which one's the Enlightened?
So these are the ones with discs, which you can either have the close combat weapons or the great bows.
Right.
So they've now got a 5-up invul.
So these are the ones that
Fine.
come in the combat patrol.
They come in the combat patrol, exactly right. You now have 2 profiles.
For which
So
one?
they used to be all in one profile for Zangor and Lighten, so you could either take them in with the great bows or the close combat weapons, right?
Yeah.
They're now 2 different profiles. So you can have a total of 32 Zangor Enlightened if you wanted to. I was like...
How?
What?
Where's it? How?
They come in units of 6. So you can have 3 units of 6, that's 18. Double that. No, wait, that's 36. No, hold on. No, 3 units of 6 is 18. Yeah, that's 36 Zangor Enlightened if you wanted to. Yeah. That is right, isn't it? 18 times 2 is 36.
18 times 2 is 36, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going insane. Yeah, 36, not 32. Ridiculous. That costs you so much money, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Only the people with too much cash and not enough time are doing that. So the great bows are the same without dish out mortals on the charge. So they lose that slightly. But 36 goats on discs. So insane. Anybody that's playing Tabletop Simulator, please send us a screenshot of that because I'd love to see it.
So they come in boxes of 3.
Yeah.
You can run them as 6.
Hold on. I'm going to work this out quickly. So I've just worked this out really fast. So if I am wrong in the comments, please let me know. So 36 Zangor Enlightened, you could take for £444 at Games Workshop RRP, which would be really, really dumb.
So that's 2, because they've got 2 profiles.
Yeah.
You're doubling down.
Yep.
So you've got 3 squads of 6 on one profile.
Yep.
And then 3 squads of 6 on the other profile.
Yep.
No one's going to do that.
I mean, please do that. It would be so stupid, and I'd love to play against it. But yeah, Zangors. Let's talk about Zangors. So they have the Scout 6 ability, so straight out of the bat.
Didn't they always have
Good.
that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. So new ability, however, is ambushing hunters. This is the most hilarious thing I've read for these guys. So at the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is more than 6 inches away from all enemy units, you can remove them from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves.
Why?
Your goats are just zip-zapping across the board doing objectives.
Hang on, read that again.
At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is more than 6 inches away from all enemy units, you can remove them from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves.
Oh, so it can go... Oh, it can or you must?
You can.
So you don't have to?
No. These are your action monkeys. You could just do whatever you want. My recommendation is take 2 units of 10 Zangors and just rip up.
Zip, 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 zip.
Yeah, just zip-zapping across the board. Engaged. Don't worry about that.
Cleanse.
Teleport homers, is that still a thing? Yeah, one of those. Cleanse, yeah. It's absolutely hilarious.
I mean...
Oh, and to finalise, all demons have deep strike.
Is that it?
That's it, yeah.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. What's your initial impressions of the Thousand Suns book?
There's some stupid... I can't get over that the discs are now slower.
Yeah,
It
again,
really riled me up.
I think this happened in the last book. There was something that I really didn't think we'd be talking about for ages, but it's the discs that you...
It was the Foul Blightspawn that stops you moving through him.
Yeah. Oh, you can't start or end an advance move.
Yeah, we were just like...
Done.
Yeah.
Trying to really work that out. Yeah, Sekitar robots, done. Well, nice and done.
I don't know, Defiler's overwatching on 4.
I think that's the most annoying thing out of the book.
It doesn't make sense.
No, especially in that vehicle detachment.
Like, there's like most of these codexes, they've had like a formula now. Like, you know, everyone's got their own stratagem for armor contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Most like bodyguard units do similar things, whereas nothing in the game there's a vehicle has been given the ability to overwatch on a 4.
No.
That's a new thing.
Yeah. Sorcerers are so cheap.
I'd love to know that, like, in what meeting in like Games Workshop they went, oh, well, they've got this really cool rule, we're going to put on a vehicle in Thousand Suns book. Who went, put on a Defiler?
I don't know. It's absolutely crackers. Yeah, absolutely crackers. So, yeah, an Exalted Sorcerer sets you back 85 points. You could just set them at the back of the map with your Predators, with your Defiler, just as a little blob if you have to be within 6 or 9 inches or whatever. And in that vehicle detachment, if you're overwatching on 4s for the Defiler, and then all your other things, because you're within range of your Thousand Suns Psyker, you're getting +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and reroll the damage roll. Reroll hit, reroll wound, reroll damage. Yeah, ridiculous.
I think there's some interesting rules on some of the profiles here. However, I'm very whelmed by the detachments.
Yeah.
The Rubricae one, I think is a nothing detachment.
Cheeks, absolute cheeks.
It's just the damage one. Like it needs to be damage 2.
Yeah. If anybody in the comments can swing it in a way that might get us back on side for that one, like I thought it was fine.
Yeah, proper weak for that.
The only two that really interested me were the vehicle heavy one and then the Grand Coven one, where you're choosing one of the 3 abilities each turn.
So now we're at the end of the Chaos cycle.
Yeah.
We've only got Chaos Knights to come, but they beat everything anyway because they're cooler.
Mm-hmm.
What's your ranking for these 4 codexes? Mine would be Death Guard, Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Thousand Suns. I think they are the worstest new codex for the Chaos Aligned Gods. Where would you rank things?
For me, I think I'd say Death Guard for sure. Like, not even close. I'd then say maybe Emperor's Children, but it's a real tough call. And then joint bottom for Thousand Sons of World Eaters. I might even swap that actually. I might even go Thousand Sons, World Eaters, equal pegging, Emperor's Children at the bottom.
Really?
Yeah. And
I remember. So that video where you were reading out the Emperor's Children book, you're like, "This is busted. This is broken."
Admittedly, that was done, and I think I looked at this and went, "Oh wow, that's all this crazy stuff they can have." But then, since we've done the army cost video and since we've had a bit of time to sit on it, it's so limited. It's so limited.
Really changed the tune.
Well, the thing is, like, it can do one thing really, really well.
That's the same for all of the Chaos Aligned books, though.
But the difference is they've got detachments that you can do something slightly different. And I feel like the Emperor's Children one isn't good enough to do something different. I feel like all of the books help do their main, their main thing. Yeah. But just in different ways. It's like different ways to the same result, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I would still put Emperor's Children second for me.
Really? To be honest, it's nice to see the psychic phase back in some capacity. Like, it's not its own dedicated thing.
Yeah, I was all for it being removed from the game. Personally, I didn't enjoy it being its own complete phase. However, I did really feel bad for your Thousand Suns players and your Grey Knights players where, like, that's their thing. So seeing it brought back in, but it's something that only they get, I think is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's the Thousand Suns book to finish has certainly got some legs. I'm really excited to see people that know how to play Thousand Suns.
I mean, they're all going to take maxed out bloody robots, though, aren't they?
Well, the thing is, like, how much is currently? Obviously, it's only as it stands. Like a 4-man sector robot unit is 290 points. So for nearly 300 points for that many flamers and melters is pretty good for infiltrate and stealth. But are you taking 600 points of that?
Yeah, I think you're buying two boxes of them, maybe running them as a squad of 4, maybe 2 units of 2 on either sides of the deployment zone.
See, I think they work best in a unit of 4 just because they can get the Overwatch strat for free.
Yeah.
And with that many flame units, you're just like, come at me. Like, just try it.
But the trouble is, though, when you've got rules like that want units to come near you for Overwatch, people don't. That's why I think they work.
That's why I think they're good as a deterrent.
Do they still get that Overwatch rule when you're a unit of 2?
Yeah. But you can. But that you then argue because you can only use a strat once per round anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like. Meh. And also, if you're taking defilers, firstly, shame on you. Secondly, if you used your 4-up Overwatch strat and your defiler, you then can't use it flat, let alone for free, on your sector robots.
I don't think you'd take. Would you take a defiler and the robots in the same list?
I wouldn't take a defiler because I don't hate people.
Well, yeah, I don't want to endorse that behaviour from Games Workshop that it's still on sale.
That's real dumb. But yeah, no, I think it's. I think it's fun. Truthfully, I think the vehicle one intrigues me the most.
It's really interesting because all of the Chaos Aligned, God Aligned books have all had a vehicle detachment. All of them have been really interesting / fun.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I really like the Emperor's Children one where you just get out and you're annoying.
I think I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. Like, I feel like this is hold your horses, Thousand Suns players, give us another edition and we'll actually give you something cool. I think of all
They've been saying that for years.
But this is the problem, isn't it? I feel like because we had like the Secretile robots this time round, the Infernal Master the last time, that's like 2 kits that are sort of all right in like, what, 6-7 years?
Yeah, they haven't had a lot.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, the Secretile robots can do bits, as we mentioned it with the rules, but just from a model perspective, they're not phenomenal. They're very static. I cannot stress that enough. Anybody that's buying the box for this weekend and you want to kit them out in the way that you want to, there's a little cable that comes out of the long flamer that attaches onto the back. Cut it off. Don't even use it, because then suddenly you've got this nub that you can have some sort of variation of where it's pointing. And if you can get it on some angled cork or something, suddenly they'll look a little bit different, as you'll probably see in our Tale of Two Heretics video tomorrow. But yes. Anything else to finish?
No, that's the end of the Chaos.
The Year of Chaos, they called it.
Yeah, apparently that was for AOS, not us. There's been lots of people debunking it. And there's been lots of argument over the Year of Chaos thing.
Oh, people like to complain, don't they?
It's as if, people talking about it, whether it's good or bad,
there we go.
generates sales.
There it is. Unbelievable. If you'd like to buy some Thousand Suns of your own, please